Hey, it's Marvolo and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about my septum piercing experience. I first got my septum pierced when I was 19 years old. I got it pierced downtown Eugene at High Priestess, the campus location. It's on East 13th if you live in the Eugene area and you want to check it out. They have really great piercers. I don't remember who pierced my septum, but I'm just going to guess that it was probably Jim. He's done a lot of my piercings. Jim is one of my favorite piercers, and if you're in the area, you should definitely check him out for your next piercing. My septum piercing was probably one of my least expensive piercings. At the shop that I go to, they give a flat piercing fee of $30 for up to 3 piercings, so you only pay the one time for 3 piercings. So now I try to always get 2 or 3 piercings when I go in because it just ends up being more affordable, and then on top of that you pay individually for your jewelry. So the $30 flat rate plus the cost of a septum retainer, because that's what I started out with, and that was very inexpensive. And I think the piercing and jewelry in total cost less than $50. The piercing itself was really easy. It was super quick. After marking the spot, it just went straight through with the needle, and the piercer left the needle just in my nose before putting the jewelry in and let me go check it out in the mirror just with the needle sticking through, and I thought that was really awesome. I wish I had taken a picture, but I didn't think to at the time. As far as pain goes with the piercing, it was almost pain-free. I would say it was about a 1, maybe a 2 out of 10 on the pain scale. I have a pretty high pain threshold, but this was almost pain-free for me. And then there was a little bit of stinging and discomfort when he put the jewelry in, but that wasn't really pain, more just discomfort with having someone sticking their fingers around in my nose. It's, not always the most pleasant thing. It was a super easy healing process. I would just put lukewarm water in a shot glass with a bit of non-iodized sea salt and then just blow bubbles into the shot glass with my nose. And I would do that for about 5 minutes, like once or twice a day. Like I said, I started out with a septum retainer, which if you don't know what that is, it's the piece of jewelry that just sort of looks like a staple that people have right here. I think you could get away with having a septum piercing at just about any job as long as you're just wearing the septum retainer and you tuck it in during your shift. Like, pretty much no one would know. The biggest problem I ran into when I had a septum piercing was buying jewelry, because if I didn't go to a piercer and have them fit it specifically for me, I would just go in or order online, buy jewelry based on what it looked like, and if I got it home and it didn't work for my specific anatomy, I was just kind of fucked. That happened a lot, where I just couldn't get the jewelry in, particularly with the captive bead jewelry, which is what I'm wearing now. It took me a long time to figure out specifically what ring size I needed for my anatomy. I ended up accidentally buying a 14 gauge at one point and putting it in, wondering why it hurt so bad, and realizing, oh shit, I just accidentally stretched my septum. So stretching your septum from a 16 gauge to a 14 gauge isn't the most painful experience. It stings quite a bit. I didn't even know I was stretching it, and I just was wondering why my eyes were watering so much. It's just hard to want to keep the jewelry in because the stinging does not go away for quite some time. So I ended up taking that jewelry out, and for the longest time I stuck with just the septum retainer because I had so much trouble finding jewelry that worked. When I started modeling, a lot of people wanted me to go for this girl next door look. I had like brown hair and no facial piercings. I just had the septum piercing that was usually tucked in, and I didn't have this tattoo back then, just the one on top of my foot. And so people wanted me to have this more natural look, which is not what I was going for, but it was work that I could get at the time. But my septum piercing ended up making it harder. You can't see it for the most part during a shoot, but sometimes even when it's tucked in, you'll just catch that like glare and it looks like a silver booger, and it's not that flattering in a photo. So a lot of the time I would have to actually take it out instead of tucking it for a photo shoot, and at some photo shoot I left my septum retainer and it was gone, and eventually my septum piercing closed up. I didn't have any jewelry in my septum for almost probably a year or 2. That sounds about right. And one day I decided, fuck it, I'm sick of being this girl next door type look. I am switching everything. I started stretching my ears. I took an earring, just a normal stud earring, and I pushed it through for my septum and just had this earring stud in my nose, and I would try to keep that in almost all day every day. And when I first re-pierced it with that, it hurt. Not a whole lot, but hurt worse than when I got it pierced. So I'd probably say it was like a 2 or a 3 on the pain scale. Still nothing intolerable, but yeah, worth not having to pay the $50 to get it re-pierced for sure. I slowly sized my septum back up to a 16 gauge, and that's what I've been at ever since. My septum piercing is one of my absolute favorite piercings, and I think the only major negative that I have about the septum piercing in general is that when I did get it pierced, it burst some sort of a blood vessel in this region, and now I just have noticeable blood vessels down here, which is fine. I'm able to cover it up with makeup, and even if not, it's not anything that's too horrible. It's just a mild inconvenience at the worst. So yeah, I hope I covered any sort of questions you might have had about my septum piercing. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. If you'd like to hear about any of my other piercings, let me know that as well down in the comments. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you can stay updated for the next time I make a video. I've got some more videos that'll be coming up for you guys soon. I've been really trying to get on a better filming schedule, but this week has been really hectic. I'll have some more updates about what's going on in my life during my weekly smoke sesh, so stay tuned for that. But until then, I love you guys, and I'll see you again soon.